Lucifer fall, but rather, what purpose does his presence still serve in the story of God? Stay with me, because in the next chapter we will step further into Ethiopia's vision and discover how this courtroom drama reshapes the very way we understand spiritual warfare. If Lucifer is not merely the rebel, but the tester, then what does that mean for the battles you face today? Chapter 6, Black Christ versus White Theology. When you change the face of Christ, you change the faith that follows him. The image is never neutral. It shapes how we see God, how we see ourselves, and how we treat one another. Ethiopia knew this. Europe forgot it, and the world has lived with the consequences. In Ethiopia, Christ was never painted as a distant monarch clothed in marble. He was seen as a dark-skinned savior walking alongside the poor, lifting the oppressed, speaking with the voice of the marginalized. In their theology, a black Jesus meant that God was with them, not above them, not far away, but present in their suffering, sharing their struggle, redeeming their story. But across the sea in Europe, the image of Christ took a different shape. As the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, the carpenter from Nazareth began to resemble Caesar more than a Galilean Jew. He was depicted with pale skin, golden hair, and eyes of blue. He was enthroned, crowned, and wrapped in imperial robes. Christ was no longer the man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. He became the Christ of power, the Christ of empire. Do you see the difference? A black Christ proclaims, "I am with you in your chains." A white Christ enthroned in cathedrals whispers, "I am the God of your conquerors." One image tells the oppressed that God stands beside them. The other image tells the oppressor that God blesses their rule. And this is where theology bends. In Ethiopia, theology remained close to the people. It was sung in the liturgy, carved in stone churches, painted in humble icons. It proclaimed that the gospel belonged to all, not just kings or priests. Salvation was not about joining an empire, it was about being part of God's family. In Europe, theology hardened into systems of control. Councils decided which books would remain, which would vanish. The gospel was tied to law, order, and hierarchy. Christ became a figure who blessed crowns and armies. He became the justification for conquest, colonization, and the sword. One scholar once said, "When you change the skin color of Christ, you change the gospel itself." And Ethiopia proves this true. Because in their vision, Christ did not come to elevate emperors. He came to lift the broken. Their Jesus looked like them, ate with them, and walked the dusty roads as one of them. In Europe's vision, Christ became almost untouchable, a king in heaven mirrored by kings on earth. Think about the effect of this. When enslaved Africans were dragged across the ocean, they were shown images of a white Christ and told to bow. But in secret, they clung to the memory of a black Christ, a Christ who looked like them, who suffered as they suffered, who promised freedom. The difference was not cosmetic, it was cosmic. A Christ of empire teaches obedience to rulers.